Story time. So I discovered that Daniel Sloss was going to be at Spokane Comedy Club. Spokane is about 6.5 hours away from me, which is just long enough that I don't particularly want to drive that far, but just short enough that I will do it. If you don't know who Daniel Sloss is, he has 2 Netflix comedy specials, and you should definitely watch both of them. If you're only going to watch one, watch Jigsaw, but if you watch Jigsaw and then watch Dark, it'll spoil Dark for you, so watch them in order. Anyway, my friend was supposed to go with me, but then she had a family emergency and wasn't able to. That wasn't gonna stop me, though. So I drive to Spokane in time to get there for the 7 o'clock show, and I have 2 tickets, so I ask, could I just use the second ticket to see the show twice? And they're like, yeah, okay. I figured I'd drive 6.5 hours, I might as well get my money's worth. The usher is told that I'm going to table B5, and they bring me over to this table that has like 9 people that are clearly there for some sort of event. I sit down, and I am very not welcome. I immediately get dirty looks from everyone, and they're like muttering to each other, and then one of them says to me, "This seat is taken." And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I don't know anything. I just was told I had to be here. A second usher shows up with a woman who's holding a birthday balloon and clearly supposed to be in my seat. Everyone's annoyed, and I'm just like, I didn't mean to be here. I'm sorry. So this usher walks me back to the front, and I'm like, they said B5, and he's like, oh, that wasn't B5. So apparently they just brought me to the wrong table. I'm led to the right table, and I'm sitting with these 2 dudes in their 20s. They're having a delightful time conversing about personal matters, such as someone's drinking problem, and I'm having a delightful time pretending I'm not listening. The show happens, it's brilliant and witty, and I love it. He talks a lot about toxic masculinity, which is of course a very interesting topic. After the show, the guys tell me they're going to a bar and that I'm welcome to join them, but I say that I'm going to the next show. So I give one of them my number, and I just kind of hang out, hoping that they won't kick me out. So I go over to talk to a security guard, and we're just casually talking, and then I also am like, am I allowed to just hang out? And he's like, well, no, and thank you for asking because it's really awkward when I have to kick people out. But he says that I can go to the arcade bar next door. So I'm like, all right, I go outside, I go to the arcade bar, they won't let me in because it's at capacity. So I text that guy Abe and I ask him where they ended up, and he's not responding to me, so I text him again, much more aggressively, excuse me, it is cold, please notice my text. Abe and Mike and a couple of other friends who have joined them show up, and we walk back to another bar, we talk for a while, it's a good time. At one point I mentioned Waitress, the musical that I absolutely love, and I say that it's written by Sarah Bareilles, you know, not gonna write you a love song. And Abe's like, did you know that she wrote that song about her record company? And I'm like, yeah, that's really basic information, and I just told you about a musical she wrote that you didn't know about, and you thought I wouldn't know that about the song that I just sang to you? As I'm leaving to go to the next show, I tell them all, see you later, I'm gonna go meet Daniel Sloss. So I get to the show and they bring me to a different table this time, and I am literally in the center of the room. There is only one table in front of me, and I am directly center stage. I could not have been closer without paying for premium seating. The show is amazing again. Of course, I noticed the slight and significant variances in the storytelling. During the set, he mentions that after the show, he'll be outside, so bring him some weed. It's legal in Washington. I go to the bathroom after the show, and I'm wearing this Wonder Woman jacket. So I have like this 30-second conversation with this woman named Chrissie about my Wonder Woman jacket and how much she loves it. And then I go and talk to the security guard again, because I'm just kind of hanging out, knowing that Daniel's going to be outside soon. We had a really good conversation about my YouTube and my PhD research. And then Chrissie comes over, and she asks me for my Facebook. She just is gushing about how incredible I am, which is a little weird, because we only talked for 30 seconds, literally just about my jacket. But to be fair, I am pretty cool. So I give her my Facebook and she walks off, and then I explain to this guy that I'm not actually like a weirdly famous person or anything. She just really liked my jacket. So I go outside and Daniel's there, of course, talking to a few people. We meet, we take a few photos. I tell him that I think his shows are absolutely brilliant. He says that if I like the smart stuff, I'd really like the other ending to that show. He said that when he does it in a comedy club setting versus a theater setting, there's like a whole 20 minutes that he cuts out because it doesn't fit the atmosphere. So he goes back into the club for a minute, and I go into the arcade bar, and he says that he's gonna go over there after. I text a picture to Abe of me and Sloss, and he's like, what the hell, you weren't kidding. So he asks me where I am, and I don't respond for 2 reasons. Well, first of all, I don't really know these guys super well. And the other one being that I think it's just funnier if I don't respond in that situation. Sometimes you do things for the comedy. He and his friends came over to the arcade bar and hung out. Abe and his friends are dick measuring with this punching bag machine, and of course we all make fun of them for how that ties exactly into the toxic masculinity thing. So Chrissie challenges Sloss to an air hockey match, and he is really good at air hockey. This dude named Dallas then narrowly beats Sloss, and it is an amazing game. The best part of all of the air hockey games was definitely the announcer. This woman named Heidi has taken it upon herself to be the announcer for the game and like get the crowd involved, and she's very good at it. So I talked to Sloss a few times, but only barely because I don't really want to be rude, but also what do you say to someone that you know very well but doesn't know that you exist? But at the same time, I think he's a really cool guy, and I do want to hang around. So I'm doing just that. I am hanging around and not really saying anything and being horrendously awkward by just existing. I'm great at interviews. I can meet strangers and talk to them for hours. I have lots of interesting topics to discuss. For example, 2 seconds after standing in an awkward circle saying nothing, a woman asks me about my hair, and we go into this long discussion about my hair and what it was like to cut it off and why I did it, and it's a really, really good discussion. But for some reason, I couldn't really translate that. Maybe it's just harder when there's more people around because then you're kind of competing for attention, and I don't really like doing that. It's interesting how big a difference just a little bit of discomfort can make. Anyway, so I keep running into Chrissie, and every time I see her, she's just overjoyed to see me, and she wants to let everyone know that they need to know who I am. I don't know why she took it upon herself to do this, but she did, and it was her mission for the evening. At one point, I walk out of the bar, and Chrissie is standing outside, and she's like, "Kim!" And she grabs me by the neck with her entire arm and kind of like side drags me back into the bar, and she just screams to everyone, "Have you met Kim? This is Kim! She's really cool! It's KYM! Everyone needs to know her! Look up her Facebook!" I, of course, am mortified because I didn't ask for this to happen. And I'm like, if you're gonna embarrass me like that, the least you can do is plug my YouTube channel, not my Facebook. At one point, I'm standing in a circle of 4 guys, one of them being Sloss, and everyone is like 6 inches to a foot taller than me, and I'm not saying anything like the weirdo I apparently was for that entire evening. Chrissie comes over and she starts telling Daniel Sloss that he needs to know who I am. And she asks him if he will make me famous. And of course he's like, no, and he's getting uncomfortable. Everyone's uncomfortable except Chrissie, who is just having the time of her life. Daniel leaves very shortly after, so that was not a great final impression. I noticed after Chrissie left that her credit card has landed on the ground. She'd only left a few minutes before then, so I figured she hadn't gotten very far, so I just kind of started yelling, "Chrissie!" And that did not work. I didn't find Chrissie, but I did find a few guys fighting. Again, with the toxic masculinity theme for the evening. I do not understand drunk guys. I barely understand sober guys. So I post on Facebook about Chrissie's card because I couldn't find her Facebook anymore. I leave it with Abe. I apologize to Daniel Sloss via Twitter. I start driving home, and at about 3:30 a.m. I'm at a gas station, and I'm the only one there. And the guy decides that it's a great time to ask me if I have a boyfriend. I'm about 115 pounds, and like 95% of dudes are larger and stronger than me. When a guy shows interest at 3:30 in the morning with no one else around, that's a fight or flight response. The next morning, I had a nice conversation with his manager. I'm on my way back home, and I get tired, so I sleep because that is what you do when you get tired. You do not drive tired. I wake up, and Chrissie had messaged me, but it's about cosplay and my videos, and I'm like, girl, your card! Got back home, didn't die on the road. It was a very odd weekend. I really hope I get another chance at some point to make a less ridiculous impression. But on the plus side, I made a few new friends. I don't particularly understand why these situations happen to me, but they certainly are interesting. As always, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to stick around. And of course, I've got Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. As always, have a lovely day.